Oh, you know what I gotta do?
Hello. That last video still made me laugh so much every time.
It's so funny. We crack ourselves up.
So haven't watched the last one. Watch at least the first part of the last one. You'll get a good giggle.
You need a good laugh, yeah. Silly girls.
Which is kind of the opposite of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm Amy from Mastro Stretch and
Sandy at Root Acupuncture.
And today we're going to talk about crying. Have you ever been in a situation like being pulled over by a cop and started crying? This is how we kind of got this conversation going yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, raise your hand if that's ever happened to you.
Yes.
And it was funny, and it's not because we want to get out of a ticket. All right, guys, we don't want to, that's not the point. It just happens. It's like a spontaneous reaction. It just happens. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's because we did something wrong, and now this person is telling us we did something wrong, and this, we're
just
really
a stressful
upset.
Moment. And you're sometimes.
And you just cry, and you have no control over it. So we just want to talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah, about crying. Yeah, in scenarios like out in the world or in public.
In public, yeah.
I'm good at that. I mean, I don't care. Like, I believe that we're emotional beings, and it's okay to emote. Like, to move it through is healthy because then it doesn't get stuck. So. I mean, I was in Whole Foods once with my sunglasses on. I'm crying.
Oh, really?
I had my eyes, and I'm trying to I'm sure they were red, so I'm walking through Whole Foods with my sunglasses on, and I must look like a freak. But then, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I was in a moment where something hit that I wanted to cry, and just let it flow through.
I've always been one. Well, and I think as society, it's not appropriate to cry in public, and that's I try to hold it in. It doesn't always work, and I think kind of the upbringing too, like you're not supposed to cry, right? At least that's kind of how I feel I was brought up. But this woman, and I had to tell the story because I worked with this woman in a corporate office, and it was a group of probably 15 to 20 people in our department, and she was very upset, and she started crying, and she's like, I don't care. She's like, she cared so much about this group of people that she worked with, and it was something that was very frustrating for her and upset her a lot, and she started crying, and she was not apologetic about it, and that really sticks in my head. Like, we shouldn't be afraid, and women in a workplace too, like my office mate there, both of us probably cried in our office. Like, it's just not acceptable, and I don't know why, because it happens.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be looked down upon. It's not because we're sad. It's probably because we're frustrated or angry. Yeah. And we cry. And I want to give a shout out to Sharon because that really impacted me. And ever since she said that publicly, and she was like a tough lady. She was like, you didn't mess with her. She got things done. And it was really impactful for me to hear that from somebody I worked with, and I was in my 20s, and she was a little bit older, and to hear that from her, and it just kind of impacted me. It's like, we shouldn't be ashamed to cry in public. Like, it's an emotion, right? It's something that happens.
Yep, it happens. And I think, like you said, growing up, it's why are you crying? Stop crying. How many times we hear that, and especially for men, boys don't cry, men don't cry. But I see groups of men now really getting together to really get their emotions clear, because we all need to cry. It's part of the systems of our body, and it's a beautiful release. Like, I always feel better after I cry. Like, there's something that, and you can sometimes feel it in here, like something's releasing out of the heart or the lungs. I feel a lot. And there was a time, I forget what the exact moment was, or what the situation was, that I had a patient in front of me, and I started crying just because we had this connection, and I think we both sort of were getting teary-eyed, but it wasn't nothing like awkward. We both were just in this moment of connection, and she appreciated that I was touched enough to cry with her in that way. And a lot of people get embarrassed if they're in here. We're moving energy, so sometimes people get angry releases or crying releases, and I'm like, let it go, let it flow. It's perfect. It's awesome that you're having this experience, because a lot of times people get experience like, embarrassed, like, oh, I'm gonna cry, and I'm like, good, go, get it out, cheering them on, because it's normal. We're humans. We have emotions, and we hold things, and we need to let them out and release them and emote them in a healthy way, because we know that emotions that get stuck start to cause issues in the tissues. So don't be afraid to let them go when you feel that moment. And when you let them go in the moment, you don't hold on to them. It's just like a wave. It's like, oh, I cried, I feel better, and I can move on to the next thing. And I feel like that's how we're supposed to be. Like, you emote and you move on, and it's like this waves, and don't hold on so rigid to them.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I think we probably all experience moments where we want to cry and we hold it in, and it just feels tight. Your body tenses up. You trap that emotion in there, and those tissues become rigid. Yeah. And you're doing body work on people. Acupuncture is a form of therapy, right? That releases that. And then just in general body work, if you're doing some body work, that's not unusual to cry during body work as well, like stretching or massage or anything like that. I've experienced that, getting body work done, and just on the way home bawl. I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying, but I'm crying. It just something was released. So that mind-body connection is definitely, it's there. It's real, people.
Yes. Yeah, if you really feel like, if you have a moment like that where you feel like you're somewhere and you feel like you need to cry, feel how it feels in your body. Do you feel that tenseness? And if you do, even just emote for 30 seconds, like let the tears flow. Yeah. Do you feel that release? Like really feel the connection in your body, and you can really start to sense how your emotions are moving through you the more you honor them and let them flow the way they need to.
Yeah, don't let that trigger go unnoticed. Dive into that trigger, whatever it was.
And if you hold it in for the moment, there's moments where I've had to hold it in because just of where I am, or, and then later maybe run to the bathroom and just have a minute, and let it out, wipe it off and go, and it's healing. It's beautiful. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we just want to come on here and talk about that a little bit. We were like, what are we going to talk about? And we just kind of came up with that idea. And so, awkward moments, you cried.
Share your experiences.
Have you been pulled over by the cops and cried too? We'd love to know. I tend to cry when I get, like I was telling you yesterday, when I'm driving and I get lost, I get frustrated. I don't know how many times I started crying. Anger, tears, when you get angry, I'm very, that's a big trigger for me.
Those are powerful, those anger tears.
Let 'em out. So some of those are some of mine. And of course sadness, of course. Some commercials will get me a little weepy-eyed these days. Like, oh, that was But, so let us know your experiences and crying in public, or just in general how you feel if you hold them in or not hold them in.
And any topic ideas you have for us in the future, because some days we're like, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, so what do you guys want to hear? Babble on about?
Yeah. Be silly about.
Right, yeah.
So, that's it for today. Happy week.
Don't be afraid to give a good cry in.
Let those tears flow. Yeah. You'll feel better afterwards.
Definitely. All right, well, have a good rest of the week, guys.
Ciao. Bye. We're doing kisses today.
Ooh.
And hugs.